welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Monica Hahn, she's going to be on the program. She is with the Hahn Solo Strategy. HahnSoloStrategy.com. She's a branding expert with a name like Hahn. What else do you do with that kind of name? I like that. Hey, welcome to the program, Monica. Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and the Hahn Solo Strategy.
Sure. So after spending over 20 years in the corporate world, longer than I care to think about, I decided to go and do some consulting on my own. And it was really driven by a desire to shift from working for big companies. I'd worked for big companies like Burger King and Aramark. And I wanted to work more with small companies and really help new brands to grow. And so I started doing that on a project level and really found that it was personally rewarding for me, and I was adding a lot of value for my clients. So on the one side, Hahn Solo Strategy is about business strategy. It's primarily brand strategy, but I also help a lot of companies with strategic planning. So that tends to be small companies that are sort of at the stage where they're ready to grow to the next level and trying to figure out how to get there. But the other piece that I do is actually career strategy. I've found throughout my career that I was a serial mentor and coach to not only people that worked directly for me, but lots of other people that I met through networking. And that was a way for me to continue to build on those skills and help other people unleash their potential. So in a nutshell, I would say that's what Hahn Solo Strategy is about. It's about helping brands and individuals unleash their potential.
So are most of the companies you work with now, what do you call them, small or mid-market? Kind of give us a profile.
Yep, exactly. It's companies that are trying to reach that next stage of growth, whether that's moving from startup to scale up a little bit, or it's moving from mid-market to getting bigger. One of the things that happens as you reach that growth stage is it becomes impossible to do everything the way you've been doing it because you can't scale it. So people know that they need to add some process into their world, but they don't want to, part of the reason they're entrepreneurs is that they don't want to be bogged down by process. So one of the things I do is help them figure out how to add enough process that helps them accelerate their growth without getting bogged down in process for process's sake.
Okay. How many employees does your company have?
Just me, Hahn Solo, hence the name.
Hence the name. And so that's really by design.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, and that was, again, kind of a revolt from working for large companies before, sort of?
A revolt? No. Honestly, I've worked with some really amazing big companies, and but I did that for 20-some years, and I was ready for something different. And the other thing that I do quite a bit of is nonprofit work, and nonprofits operate a little bit more like startups. They're a little bit scrappier, and that work is really fun. And frankly, part of it is that whole process thing. People who have worked with me know that I'm the first person to introduce process to help move us along, but I get quickly frustrated with process that has lost its purpose for creating results. And so I really was eager to work with some smaller companies. And one of the things that happened was that as I started networking, I found that there were just tons of companies out there that, wanted to benefit from some of that big company experience and figure out how to translate it to their world. Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. That's a great way, and of course, with your resources and background, that's a great way to help them move to the next level. Kind of give us a macro overview of how you approach a new client in terms of ascertaining what their needs are. What are the areas you address? Those type of things.
I think that the biggest thing is to really listen to what are the challenges and problems that they're trying to solve, because it's different for every client. is it about figuring out how to clarify their brand and their messaging, or is it about determining which growth strategies they should choose from? And having been at a senior level in corporations, I've done all those things, and it's about figuring out which pieces you can pull from. The most recent project I did, I actually worked with a nonprofit, and this was really sort of the intersection of my branding and coaching work. I worked with a nonprofit that's training their field team on using strengths-based leadership. So how do they look at their core values and their team operating norms and what their brand stands for, marry that to each individual, what their strengths are and what they're trying to accomplish from a corporate strategy standpoint, and help everybody figure out and understand with clarity what I bring to the table and how I'm going to help us realize this big vision we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there certain industries that gravitate towards what you do versus others?
Well, because I have a lot of my own corporate experiences in the restaurant and food service industry, I've naturally done a lot of projects in that world. But to be honest, in the past couple of years since I've been consulting, I've done a lot of stuff in packaged goods, and although that even still tends to be food brands, but I did some great work with a health and wellness client called Instant Recess. That is a brand that came out of work at UCLA on public health. So I've actually been working in that world too, which is sort of as far as you can get from my work with working with companies like Burger King.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So speaking of the restaurant industry, how do you feel it's doing in 2013? And as we get ready for 2014, what's your pulse of it?
It's such an interesting pivot point right now because I think that it's changing up more than it has in my career in the past. Economic downturns and upturns are really, really interesting times in the restaurant world, because one of the counterintuitive things that has always happened is as consumers have less disposable income, they what we call trade down. So I can't afford to go out to a big fancy steakhouse tonight. I'm trying to watch my pennies, so I'm going to go and trade down to casual dining. Or maybe if I normally used to go to a casual dining restaurant like an Applebee's or an Outback, maybe I'm going to go to a fast casual or fast food restaurant now instead. So that's sort of been a pattern, and the reverse kind of happens as things turn back up. But it's really all been tossed into question now because of the emergence of what we call the fast casual segment. So fast casual restaurants are those restaurants like Chipotle or Noodles and Company, those that sort of are in the quick service segment but feel different than traditional fast food restaurants, either because it's higher quality food, a different level of ambience like a Panera, or the service model is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Instead of it being order my food and grab it and then go sit down, it's order my food, go sit down with my number, and they'll bring it to me. And I think the big thing in restaurants, even all the way up to fine dining now, is that one of the articles I read recently in Restaurant News put it really, really well. There's just this blurring of lines. So there's a lot less clarity between what's fast food and what's casual dining now. And I think the lines are blurring because people's expectations of the level of quality and service they want has changed a lot.
Hey, Monica, got to wrap it up. Thanks for being with us, though. Do want to encourage people to check out HahnSoloStrategy.com. Are you a Michigander originally by chance?
Sorry?
Are you from Michigan originally by chance?
No, I'm not, but there are Hahns there, and the other side of my family founded Eckerd, Texas, which is kind of out in the hill country. So
but you
have really distant roots.
Yeah, but Michigan. Did you have background in Michigan?
Yeah, that's where I grew up.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. I grew up in Michigan, too, similar accent, and so I kind of heard that. Yeah, HahnSoloStrategy.com. What part of Michigan?
Southwest corner of Michigan.
Southwest
born
corner.
in St. Joe.
Okay, yeah, I grew up in a suburb of Detroit called Ferndale. Hahn Solo Strategy, Hahn Solo, like it sounds, strategy.com. Thanks so much, Monica.
You bet. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter, and you're listening to The Price of Business.